So let's share some insights today around this whole world of decision making. An ordinary relationship to decision making. There's lots that you could Google or Chat GPT. You could find out, how to make decisions. And there's lots of models, right? We can talk about SWOT analysis and cost benefits and pros and cons. And there's matrices and there's graphs and there's impact filters and a lot of good tools. And I use those tools, and I think they're relevant to depending on what your situation is and how complex what you're building is. However, today I don't want to look at all of that. That's part of the ordinary relationship. Part of the ordinary relationship to decision making is that it looks limited. We need to make a decision. This is all in the background. It's kind of like we don't even examine it, but decision making in itself creates a world of there's something that I need to do. And that may not be the case. We need to make decisions as business owners for sure. But our approach to making decision making or those decisions has everything to do with the quality of the outcomes. So you'll fully grasp what I'm saying as we move through this. But let's look. A common relationship to decision making looks like worry, procrastination, and angst. For most of us, especially with these big decisions, they're tough. And at least for myself, I experience being on my own. Even if I have a team, it doesn't matter how much I talk to other people necessarily. That sometimes can even make it worse. The experience of, am I going to do the right thing? Am I going to make the right decision? Is this good for my employees, for my business, for the revenue, for my family? Will I be able to feed them next year if I make this decision? How does this look in the market? How will the customers react to this? Should I invest in this? We can't predict the future. So that's what creates a lot of this worry. And then the sister to worry is the procrastination that comes with it. So we know that probably making a quicker decision is beneficial, but as we will see, not always. But there's some time spent on worrying, which ultimately I call this feeling of angst, like impending doom to some degree. And damned if we do and damned if we don't. We got to make some decision, but it doesn't naturally occur as empowering, even though the decisions we're making could be a strategic partnership, could bring new people to the table, could expand our services into markets, could double our workforce, could reduce our workforce so that we can still stay around. But you can perhaps for yourself get the sense of what's there in the background of making decisions. I have to make a decision. And if you're the boss or the leader or the owner, the buck stops with you. And you're going to have to do it one way or the other, right? Okay, well, let's roll up our sleeves and get that decision made. It can also lead to paralysis by analysis, which we hear, right? We need more input. We need more input. We're not confident in the decision yet. And so we may waste time or get over input with the decisions we have to make. So ultimately, this is about, in my world, the fear of making a big mistake or the fear of making a mistake, period. So why do we need to do all that? Well, we want to make the right decision and we don't want to make a mistake. And if we make a mistake, we're screwed, or people will be unhappy, or, people say, see, I told you so. So as a leader, we want to be right. We don't want to make a mistake for all the right reasons. However, all of this is pretty much unknown with these strategic decisions. So that's ordinary. It leads to missed opportunities because of the procrastination, or maybe we overanalyze something. So the market moves on, or relationships leave us, or we don't seize the opportunity. That can happen. Or it leads to knee-jerk reactions, which is the other side of missed opportunities, that we react too quickly. We don't get enough input, or we're not settled in our thinking, and we haven't really thought through what is the point of this decision? How will this really impact the business? Have I thought through all the stakeholders and the shareholders and how this will show up in their world, whatever this decision is? What's the impact of the decision on all layers of the organization? So we need to definitely consider those things. Knee-jerk reactions won't help us ensure that we're taking maybe our best step forward. But a lot of companies react, make knee-jerk reactions, and it costs them millions, billions in many cases. Resource, time, direction, focus of the company, distractions are often caused by knee-jerk reactions. All right, So what else? And this can all lead to a perpetual state of concern over the future, which is what robs us of that peace of mind and that effectiveness that I had said at the top of the call that we're really after with making decisions. We're not trying to make decisions to have more inefficiency or to have more angst in our lives. We want the opposite. But I don't know about you. I can get wrapped around the axle really easily in this decision-making conundrum. And it's almost like no matter what I do, I just have to live with it, which is not really that empowering as a leader, because we don't make decisions just to survive the decision. We want to make decisions that enliven the company, enliven us, and that is an opportunity, and we experience ourselves fully being in. How are we doing so far? Good. I hope this has given you a little bit of the experience of how we would normally approach decision-making. Again, you can throw up the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You can do that team exercise. You can do it in your own journal, and you should do those things. However, that doesn't necessarily alleviate what I'm putting up on the screen here. So let's now look at a new relationship to decision-making. What does that look like? Okay, well, it includes structure, it includes action, and it definitely has this quality of peace of mind. It can lead to confidence and commitment. It has the essence of faith in oneself and the team. So there's a certain trust and confidence in what we choose. In the path that we decide forward, we shall not fail. And even where we may fail, it doesn't occur as a failure. It's part of the journey that we expect. So there's this element of faith in ourselves and in the team and in the direction we're choosing. It can lead to definite expanded opportunities. This new relationship allows for thoughtful design and implementation, which is often missing. Again, back to the last slide, I had things like knee-jerk decision-making. That's the opposite of thoughtful design and implementation. Often what's missed in decision-making is we don't think about what does this look like implemented. It's one of the big topics I talk on as a keynote speaker and workshop leader is how do you implement as a team? And implementation you can think of as happening at the beginning. We need to bake in implementation in the decision-making at the front end and have a sense of what it would look like to be rolled out successfully. This new relationship to decision-making also has us actually experience a perpetual cycle of growth and development. And there's a mindset here where we know that ourselves as individuals and the organization will always be cycling through growth and development, because if we're not growing, we're atrophying. If we're not growing, we're shrinking. And the natural cycle of life is growth. The natural cycle of life is development. And again, that doesn't mean just double your sales. It could just mean the experience of life for people at work. It could be how you're servicing customers. It could be the new creativity that you're servicing the market with. But there's a sense that your organization as a culture is always expanding in new directions. So all of that is available with, you could say, a mindset shift with how we make decisions as an organization.